want you to think about something with me for just a minute. Well, this is your notes. I want you to think about something for just a minute. If I have two things that I'm multiplying together, and I don't know what they are, I'm going to call one X and I'm going to call the other Y. And I tell you, I don't know a whole lot about X and Y, but what I do know is when I multiply them together, I get 0. What do you know about X and or Y, knowing that they multiply together to give you 0?
One is 0. At least one.
At least one of them is 0. Do we all agree with that?
Yes.
So either X is 0, or Y is 0, or both are 0, right? That is called the 0 product. Yes, please. That's called the 0 product property. It's just a little something with factoring.
Oh.
Okay. Now. Yes. Anytime you multiply two things together and they give you 0, one or both of them are 0. Now think about whenever we factor something. Okay. Let's say I took the second one we did, which was x squared minus 7x minus 18. And I told you that it equals 0. And I said, now solve it for x. What does x equal? Well, I would imagine you would look at that and you would go through your normal steps of solving a linear equation, even though this is a quadratic, and you'd probably add 18. And then you'd probably get stuck. Yes?
Yeah.
Kind of. What if I wrote it a different way, though? What if I wrote this as x minus 9 times x plus 2 equals 0? Do you agree that those are equivalent? Those are the same equation? That left side's still the same. I just wrote it a different way. Do you see a way I could solve it now? Think about what I just told you about a 0 product property. What is it, Grant?
Both of them equal 0.
You need to set both of them to 0. Either one of those scenarios is going to make that equation equal to 0. Good job. Remember, two things multiplied together to give you 0. Here's one thing. Here's something else. Don't you agree these are being multiplied together here?
Yeah.
So if I said x minus 9 equals 0, or x plus 2 equals 0, either one of those scenarios would make this equation true. Do you agree? Because it would make this equation true, which in turn would make that equation true. So if you solve each one, I now have how many solutions? 2.
Is that it?
I'm going to take it one little step further.
How would you determine that it will equal 0 in the first place?
It was given to you initially. Okay. I want you to think, let's see if you can extrapolate just a little bit. Let's say I graphed this equation. At y equals x squared minus 7x minus 18. If this was y. What I've done here is plugged in what for y?
0.
What do you find when you plug in a 0 for y's? Absolutely. The x-intercepts. Right? Do we all agree? If we plug in a 0 for y, we find the x-intercepts. If we plug in a 0 for x, we find the y-intercept. Yes? I want you to understand why this has two solutions. So now think about it. If I graphed just this, it's a parabola that opens up. Let me look.
How do you know how it opens up already?
How do you know? Tell me. The A is positive, remember? Yep. So look, how many x-intercepts does it have? 2. How many solutions do I have to that equation? 2. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, yes. Perfect.
Yeah? Because we're going to use that as we graph in other forms too. Okay? So 0 in for y gives us the x-intercepts, which is basically what we're finding. Okay? All right. So, your key to whenever we factor and solve, we have to make the equation equal 0 if it does not first before we factor and solve. Every time. So, let's see. For example, let me get a good example.
Make it 0. So,
3x squared plus 22x plus 60 equals negative 14x. Thank you, Shami. Minus 48. Before I can solve this, I notice right off it's a quadratic, yes? So I know that I'm probably going to get two solutions, which of course, remember, there are other scenarios where there's not two x-intercepts, right? We talked about those. Do y'all remember? What's the other scenarios? Come on, y'all. I can have two x-intercepts.
yeah.
I can have absolutely one x-intercept. I can have no x-intercepts,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So I'm hoping to get two solutions here. But if not, I know why, right? All right, let's make it equal 0. What do I do?
Separate.
Okay, what you want to separate? What you want to do? Come on, y'all. How you make that equal 0? Add 48 and 14x. Good job. I'm going to put it with what it goes with. Like terms. Oh, yeah. I'll give you a hint. Make sure you keep your leading coefficient positive. Okay, so if you're deciding which side to move everything to, keep your leading coefficient positive. All right, 3x squared plus 36x plus what should I do now? Somebody said factor. Factor. Absolutely. Get it in two pieces multiplied together to equal 0, because that's how I know to solve it. I know if I can get two things multiplied together, one of them is going to be 0. Yeah. Yeah.
So we're kind of like mixing everything that we've learned so far.
It is. That's the beauty of Algebra 2, is that's what we'll do all semester. We'll build, 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 build. It's fun. All right, what's your first step? Yeah.
Wait, I asked a question. What is the word algebra in?
Algebra. The use of variables. let me pause.
Why not?
Okay, so now that answers your question, what's the first step in factoring? GCF. Is there GCF?
X?
There sure is. Well, the 108 doesn't have an X, so I just want to take just the 3, not the X, because the 108 doesn't have an X to give. Tell me what's left.
X squared plus
Keep going.
36.
36.
Now you do the factor thing.
Now I do the factor thing. Okay. If I need to factor this, first term, first box, last term, last box.
Oh, like
What are my signs going to look like?
positive, positive.
Positive, positive. What are the two factors that multiply to 36x squared but add to 12x? And you got it, Shamik. 6 and 6. Patrick, are you getting it or you lost? Do you? Good. All right, up and over. GCF. X. GCF. 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 Y'all are so smart. So factored. I'm gonna write it out 2 times just so you see. So it's a little easier to see the zero product property. Say again.
Little thing right there, little
The little square, yeah, that's what Tanner just said, and you can put the squared. Just so you can see the zero product property in play, I'm gonna write it out twice for you. This is what we call a repeated solution. Remember, the whole point in this was to solve it for x. So it's not enough just to factor, I need to find out what does x equal, okay? So I need to do, I'm gonna come over here, I apologize. X plus 6 equals 0, and x plus 6 equals 0. Now, do you have to show both of these? No. I'm just really driving this concept in the ground here for you, okay? When you solve this for x, you get -6.
And then we go like show what that would look
sorry.
like on a graph.
The 3 is still, yeah, hang on one second. The 3 is still there. I'm sorry, I forgot to rewrite it there. But if you think about now, that's 3 pieces multiplied together to give you 0. But 3 can never be 0, so it's going to be an irrelevant piece that multiplies, if that makes sense. If that doesn't make sense, if you had multiplied these two together and got 3x plus 18 equals 0, that's still going to give you x equals -6. Tanner, what was your question?
Wouldn't they both be -6 then?
They are. It's what we call a repeated solution.
No, but you just put.
This pen, whenever I get to the edge, doesn't want to pick up my marks. It's a repeated solution. So it's one intercept, which means that one intercept is the what? Vertex. Absolutely, the vertex. What was your question, Tanner?
And then we go on the graph and show what that would look like or no.
No, you don't have to do that yet. No.
Just show it.
Right now, we're just solving. That's it. Other questions? You think you can handle that? You want me to do another one?
So the other thing when you go on the graph is just to like show it like.
Yes, because conceptually, I want you to understand what it is you're finding, because eventually we're going to get to where we are going to do that.
Okay.
And the earlier I can start you understanding what that is, the easier it'll be for you. What's your question, Kim?
What about the 3?
No, because if you think about zero product property, it says when something's multiplied together, and it's really 2 or more things multiplied together to give you 0. Well, at least one of these pieces has to be 0, but they don't all have to be 0. Well, if you set that to 0, that's never going to happen. So it's irrelevant to the answer. Or you could think about dividing both sides by 3 before you start, and then having x plus 6 equals x plus 6 equals 0. Other questions?
Mr. G, you back here, huh?
Of course.
Oh, why you back here? I'm for the national championship.
That was the basketball last year.
Oh, I'm about football.
Anyway, back to math, Shamik. Do y'all have any other questions? You want me to do another one? Are you good? Y'all gotta speak up.
We Gucci.
We Gucci. Okay.
Gucci.
Well.